Am I the a-hole for removing the ladder on my bunk bed so my niece can't get to me? My sister F24 just moved back home with her husband and their daughter 5 and son less than 1. My sister was able to convince my parents to make me F15 share my bedroom with her daughter because she and her husband would already be sharing a bedroom with their baby. She also wanted us to switch bedrooms too because my bedroom is her old bedroom and a lot larger than the spare room, which was my old bedroom. My parents at least said no to that. We ended up having my bed replaced with bunk beds so it wouldn't be too crowded. I sleep on the top bunk. And my niece started in the middle of the night climbing up into my bed to sleep with me because she was scared. I guess she gets scared a lot at night, but more here and will go sleep with her parents when she's scared. She is also too scared to go down the hallway to her parents' room because she has to go past the big dark widows in the hallway and past the staircase, which is scary because it's a dark hole. They tried putting in night lights, but that made it worse. I usually sleep deeply, so I don't notice her get in. But I wake up sometime after she crawls in because it gets really hot and she's kind of gross because she's sticky with sweat and I just don't like it. So I realized I don't need the ladder to get to the top bunk and ended up using a screwdriver to remove the ladder from the bunk bed so she can't get to me. I guess she hadn't been sleeping well since I removed the ladder because the school got involved about her being tired all the time and they got in trouble. My sister thinks I'm being petty and I can just suck it up and let her sleep with me if she's scared. I still don't want to though. Not the a-hole, you're 15 but still legally a child too. You shouldn't be responsible for a child that isn't yours. Tell your parents that your needs and your ability to sleep at night are also important, that your tiredness is impacting your schooling and ability to concentrate, and it's time to revisit the sleeping arrangements as it's not working. Also tell them that having a 5-yo climbing ladders in the middle of the night in the dark and without some kind of supervision is incredibly unsafe for the 5-yo, and this needs to be changed immediately. You need your bedroom back, and your sister and her partner can sleep with and look after their own kids at night. Not the a-hole you removed the ladder because you were afraid she would climb it and fall and get hurt. If she is having trouble sleeping, then her parents have to work that out. Not you. Next story. Am I the a-hole for telling my family that unlike them, I don't let losers see them inside me? I am a lesbian, but that's never been an issue. My family is more upset that I'm not saddled with 1 million children and massive debt. I'm married and we are dinks. Every woman in my bloodline got knocked up by an absolute loser of a man and married him. About half ended in divorce, all end in extreme poverty and sadness. I'm the first in my family to graduate college and no one is proud of me. No one even wanted me to go to college. My aunt in particular loves to say I'm only where I'm at now because I'm a lesbian. Because if I dated men, I'd have a ton of kids like all of them and I would have had to drop out of school. This "you're lucky you're a lesbian" / "you only have the life you have because you're a lesbian" shtick is so old to me. All of the women in my family have said something along these lines to me. I'm sick of it. I'm where I'm at because I studied like crazy in high school. I got into a good college on an academic scholarship and I busted my butt working 2 or 3 jobs while in school full time. I graduated with honors and some nights had to sleep in my car to get it done. So I snapped and said, no, it's because I don't let losers ejaculate inside of me. She flipped out and said I was being disgusting and rude. I think it's disgusting and rude that she insists all my success in life is because I'm gay. She got pregnant with my cousin while she was in high school, decided to keep the pregnancy and dropped out of school. She stayed with her boyfriend and dealt with his addiction issues / deadbeat issues. My sister says I was being an a-hole. I think the hate comments I've gotten for years warranted this reaction, but I do admit it was crude. So, am I the a-hole? Not the a-hole, but why not simply distance yourself from these backward-thinking losers? It sounds like they don't bring much value to your life, so just stop engaging with them. Opie replies, I moved abroad and I travel a lot. This all happened while I was back in the States caring for a sick aunt. She's very much not like the rest of them. Next story. Am I the a-hole for telling my coworker I'm gonna go to the police if she doesn't give me my belonging back? So around 3 weeks ago, I forgot my jacket at work, and since I knew that my coworker was still working there at the time, I asked her if my jacket was still there so that I could pick it up. She answered me that it was indeed still there and that she took it from me and was gonna bring me it the next time we worked together. I thanked her since that was very nice of her. But then every time I would see her, she would always forget taking it with her. I told her that she could bring the jacket back any day, even on days when I wouldn't have to work. I could still pick it up, but she still forgot. After 2 weeks, I would wake up early before her shift starts to ask her if she could bring it with her today, but she wouldn't answer, so I called her. She answered that she couldn't because she was sick and wouldn't even come the whole week. I said, okay, no problem. Get healthy soon, just text me when I can pick it up. A week passes and I see she works on Monday, so I ask her again, can I come pick it up? No answer, so after a few hours I call her and ask if she read my text. She said she didn't come to work cause of a doctor's appointment. I apologized for annoying her with my jacket, but since this is the last week that I will be working, I would like to come pick it up from her. I told her we can meet up anywhere at any time, she should just tell me when and where. She said, okay, today's fine. So I wait for a text from her where we should meet, but nothing comes. I text her, is today still okay, and no answer. Text her again that it's a really important jacket for me and that I would like to pick it up this week. Still no answer, even though she read the message. The next day, I text her again that I've seen she works on Wednesday, and if I could come pick it up. Again, no answer. I try to call her, but all that comes is the mailbox. I already tried calling her the day before, and again, only mailbox. At this point, I'm frustrated since she reads my messages but doesn't even answer if now is not a good time. So I ask my friend for advice, and they tell me to tell her that if she doesn't bring me my jacket and won't answer me, then if that goes on, I will just go to the police and tell them the situation. So I texted her that, and after a few hours, I get a text from her asking what my problem was and that I should calm down, princess. I just answered with see you on Wednesday, don't forget my jacket. Now I feel like I went too far with my text of going to the police. Before that, there was no issue between us, and I was always friendly to her. I don't know how I will face her today. Am I the a-hole? For context, it was a new jacket that was expensive to me. All my other coworkers told me that she will not give it back to me. I heard that she might not even work there anymore because of some issues that my boss has with her, how she works and acts. So it felt like if I don't ask her now, I might never get it back. Edit. Just for clarification, I work at a coffee shop where it does happen that costumers forget something, phones, purses, there, and when they come back, it's already gone. When I asked her per text if my jacket was still there, it was like 5 minutes before closing time, so I would have had to come the next day to work even though I didn't have any shift for the rest of the week. So I just wanted to know if it was even worth it coming to work the next day, if maybe my jacket had already been taken by someone else. Update. I got my jacket back. Luckily, my sister went and picked my jacket up since it's on her way from work, so that I didn't even have to argue with my coworker. Thanks for all the advice. I will tell my boss about the situation, and I will not interact with my coworker from now on. Since she literally stole your jacket and had no legitimate reason to take it home with her at any point in time, you've been very patient in not doing so, and it might be your only option if you want it back. At least you have witnesses. Not the a-hole. Next story. Am I the a-hole for saying my parents will never be able to make up for making me feel like I wasn't good enough when they neglected me throughout my childhood in an effort to have more kids? My parents had me 19M when they were 19 and 20 themselves. When I was 6 months old, they started trying for another baby but could not get pregnant. I'm still an only child today, and they have dedicated the last 18.5 years to having more kids. They have spent crazy money on IVF and other fertility treatments. They have neglected everyone else in their lives, including me, in this attempt to become parents again. As a kid, I was in no extracurriculars because my parents were saving/spending the money to have more kids. There were weeks at a time where I had no money in my school lunch account, and my parents didn't make me a lunch, so teachers had to give me extra stuff they had on standby. Speaking of school, I never got enough school supplies and would be sent in with used pens and pencils my parents had around the house. I used one of my dad's old backpacks for stuff, and my parents were the only ones who never donated a single supply to the classroom. And I got crap for it way too much. They never showed up for PT conferences. They ignored requests from my guidance counselor in high school to meet and discuss stuff, and from my high school therapist who wanted us to talk stuff out. I never got to attend birthday parties because my parents never made time for it. They never let me have friends over because they didn't want to feed them or let them drink anything at our house. When I got invited over to friends' houses, they let me go and wouldn't pick me up on time. One time, my friend's mom was going to call the cops because it was 4+ hours after they were meant to pick me up and they weren't answering their phones. I gave them a number for my grandparents and they picked me up. Whenever we were around extended family, all my parents could talk about was fertility treatments and having babies. There were a lot of times when they both said they just wanted to have kids and hated not being able to. Other times they did say they wanted more kids, but also added that they hated feeling like they had to settle for one. We didn't always have as much food in the house as we should because my parents would do anything to save for treatment. I never got new clothes unless all my old ones were so worn down they couldn't be worn again. One time I had only 2 outfits to alternate between. And each and every time they went for treatment, it failed, and they cried and talked about how unfair it was they were denied this, and I had to listen to it. I spent a lot of my time between 16 and 18 sleeping at friends' houses a lot. I also got a part-time job. Then on my birthday, I went to stay with a friend's family for several weeks, and then 4 of my friends and I started renting a place together. I had contact with extended family throughout, but I always felt like they weren't there enough for me even though they knew I told them what was going on. But now they're talking about how my parents are getting older, won't be able to try forever, and have asked me to have compassion and understanding when they try to form a relationship with me. Extended family argue they are still my parents and I should forgive them for not being the best, and that I should let them make it up to me when the time comes. I told my extended family that my parents can never make up for neglecting me in their effort to have more kids, and I can never forgive them for making me feel like I wasn't good enough. I told them my therapy bill will be huge by the end and my parents caused it all. They effed me up and left me with the bill. My extended family said I'm not understanding my parents' position. Am I the a-hole? So basically they severely neglected the kid they had to have a kid. Your parents are wackos? OP replies, that's exactly what happened, only they had no more kids. Next story. Am I the a-hole for telling everyone that I am refusing a gender reveal and paternity because my SIL is clearly pressuring my wife? My wife is her 2nd trimester and currently she's struggling a lot emotional and physically, and my wife and I decided before she got pregnant that we didn't want to know our baby's gender, and we communicated that to our families. But the SIL is kinda jealous of my wife. She's been jealous of her ever since she got pregnant. She would try to convince my wife to find out our baby's gender, and even we were curious and thought of finding out our baby's gender, but then we decided to not to go with it because it didn't really matter to us if it's a boy or a girl. But from the beginning of this month, our families started asking us that if we changed our minds, and they also want to know if it's a boy or a girl. We told them we didn't, and my side of the family even said that they want a paternity test, which I shut down, but I was shocked. Turns out the SIL has been talking about this behind our back to our families. My wife found out and she was crying and hugged me and told me everything. She hits my chest and says that if everyone is asking for it, she will do reveal gender and do paternity to shut everyone up. I calmed her down and told her that she doesn't need to do something she doesn't want to, and I don't doubt her at all. I'll always protect her and believe her as she's mine, and I will cut everyone off out of our lives if they are adding up. Extra stress in our lives, and most importantly on her. It took me 2 full days to calm her down, and I'm sleep deprived and I was angry. I let everyone in our family know what my SIL had done and told them how she was flipping the script and telling different things to my family and my wife's family. And I told everyone that I wanted to find out my child's gender and whether I am a father or not, but I won't because of my SIL. My SIL is pissed, and some of my family members thinks now that I should paternity, and some of her family members thinks that they deserve to know about our baby's gender. And now I'm thinking of cutting everyone in our family off if they are against AITA if I do? Am I the a-hole for what I did? The next person to bring up this topic gets a 30-day timeout. The person after that gets a 60-day timeout. Any questions? Then enforce it. Not the a-hole. Next story. Am I the a-hole for telling my now adult kids that I'm disappointed they judge me for remarrying after we lost their mother? I was a widower in my early 40s after my wife, and the mother of my 2 oldest children, passed away. Our kids were 12 and 13 when she passed. It was 4 years before I dated again, and it took a few months to meet my now wife. I spoke to my kids when it was happening, and they appeared supportive at the time. But as soon as I was actually married again, they pulled away from me, and I noticed they were closer to my dad, who has been a widower for more than 40 years now and never dated or remarried. My adult kids, both in their 20s, have made many excuses to not see us, and they met their younger brother once and never held him or interacted with him. They tell me they're too busy when I try to make plans with them, but they never fail to spend time with Grandpa. I finally asked them if we could meet and talk, just the 3 of us, and they were agreeable. We met for coffee, and I asked them why they had pulled away, and I directly asked if they were really not okay that I had remarried. I told them I had believed them when they said it was okay with them to do so at the time. They asked me what they were supposed to say when I asked, and I said the truth because it would have been easier to talk things through more. They told me that when I started dating again, it changed how they saw me. They thought I was loyal and actually loved their mom as much as my dad loved my mom. But I saw myself moving on while my dad never could or wanted to. They said my decision to date after losing their mother was like the end of our family, and they were closer to my dad because they admired his dedication to my mom, and they realized he was the example they wanted to follow, not me. They also said they felt I dishonored their mom by visiting her grave when I decided she wasn't special enough to be my one true love and loved someone else. I asked if they had always felt this way, and they said yes. They told me they were so disappointed in me when they realized I was thinking of dating again. I told them I was equally disappointed in them for judging me for remarrying. I told them I would always love their mom, and to hear them question that and to accuse me of dishonoring her was hurtful. They told me I had started over and even had another kid, so I should just focus on that because they do not wish to be a part of the family anymore. And they told me I didn't get to be disappointed in them when I had the perfect example growing up and decided to replace their mom. They left, and that was the last we spoke, although it wasn't too long ago. Am I the a-hole? My sister's husband died when their kids were 10 and 5. About 7 years later, my sister was engaged to her eventual second husband, and the 17-year-old was struggling with the idea. She said she felt like their family was just fine the way it was, and she didn't see why my sister should want to remarry. I asked her if she was planning to devote her life to being my sister's companion, and she just stared at me. Because of course she wasn't planning on that, she was very independent and already had her college plans laid out. I think it really made her think about how all their lives were going to change as the kids grew older and left home. And she realized that it was unrealistic to expect her mother to live alone for the rest of her life just because her first husband had died. I hope you guys liked this video. If you did, make sure like, comment, share, and subscribe the channel our posts.